Hello everyone, it is me, the Chipmunk. Well, I wanted to update you on something that I said I would update people on. As you know, some time ago, late last year, I mentioned that Spider-Man was coming out with a new comic book that would relate somehow to maybe Peter Parker and Mary Jane getting back together. It was called Spiderman Renew Your Vows. At the time, I didn't really know much about this comic book or what it was going to be about, and nobody else did either. Well, it came out a few days ago, and I just read it yesterday as the making of this video. I read it yesterday, and it's a great book. It's a wonderful book. For the first time since 2000, since I last read a Spider-Man book, I was finally, once again, after all these years, invested in the story. I cared about what was happening with Spider-Man and Mary Jane and their family and all of those things. But before I get too deep into all that, the story and everything, let me start off by telling everybody what this book is. This is what I know so far about this particular Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows. Now, what has happened as of the making of this video is that the Marvel Universe has essentially been destroyed. The main Spider-Man Marvel Universe is gone. It's now ruled by Victor Von Doom, and there are all kinds of other dimensions in this place. I know it sounds confusing, but that's because I've not been keeping up with what's been happening in Secret Wars, but from what I understand, everything that now remains is called Battle World, and it's a place that Dr. Doom, who has become a god and basically now, he controls it. And there's all different kind of regions in this Battle World, and one domain is this place where this Spider-Man exists. So, in other words, this Spider-Man is married to Mary Jane and has a daughter named Annie. But it's not our Spider-Man. It takes place in another dimension, within a dimension. It's kind of confusing. The main thing is, this is not our Spider-Man. This is still someone from another dimension who never made that choice in one more day to end his marriage and do all that, stupid nonsense that they did in one more day. So we get to see Spider-Man and Mary Jane with a daughter named Annie. Now, while you might be kind of disappointed, to say, well, you see, they pulled a fast one on us. It wasn't Spider-Man getting his family back after all. Oh, hang on. From all I'm hearing about what's happening in Secret Wars is this. Everything is going to be resolved in all the characters in the Marvel Universe at some point. They're going to basically restart these characters, not necessarily with a clean state. Some of the things that we're seeing, such as in this book, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, will be incorporated into the main Marvel Universe. That's what I'm hearing on the internet. So in other words, when this limited series of The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows ends, some of what's contained in here will be incorporated into the real Spider-Man when the Secret Wars are over and presumably the Marvel Universe is put back together and the characters start over again. So, there's no reason to give up hope just yet. I know we don't want to get our hopes up too much, but I gotta say, after reading this comic book, it's kind of hard not to get your hopes up because it's such a good story. It's so great. It's so great to see Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together again. Not only that, they have a daughter, which is even better. I mean, the whole time I was reading this story, like I said, I was invested in what was happening. I cared about what was happening to this character, to Mary Jane, to their family. It's great. What happens in it is that in this particular dimension, Peter Parker and Mary Jane, as I said, are married. They have a daughter. And the heroes in this particular world have started to disappear. What's happened is that there's this character called the Regent, and he's basically killing off all the heroes in the planet. And, X-Men, Avengers, all of them, you name the hero, they're all getting killed. And he doesn't understand that that's what's happening at first. But eventually he comes to see that that is what's happening. But before he can do anything about it, Venom shows up and terrorizes and his family, Mary Jane and his little daughter named Annie. So, to make a long story short, Peter Parker has to do the unthinkable. Venom threatens to kill his family. He threatens specifically to kill his daughter and suck out her brains. And Peter Parker realizes that he has to kill Venom. And so, at the end of the book, that's what happens. He kills Venom by throwing him into a building that's on fire, and fire is one of Venom's weaknesses. And the last page that we see of Venom, it appears that he has died, and the costume slides off. So at the very least, if Venom is not dead, Eddie Brock is dead. And the threat of Venom, at least for the moment, is over. And Peter Parker decides at that moment that he can no longer be Spider-Man, that he has to quit and just take care of his family. Because by this point, this villain known as the Regent has killed off all the heroes. And in the last few pages of the book, we jump ahead in time a few years. His daughter is a little older. I would say like 7 or 8 or something like that. And the Regent has apparently taken over the world. But Spider-Man has decided he can't do anything about that. And because of the dangers involved in his work, that he's decided to retire and just take care of his family. However, there's going to be some more issues about this particular Spider-Man, so we all know that it's not over yet for this Spider-Man. Now here's what I take away from all of this. Like I said, this miniseries is not over, so we don't know what's going to happen. The big question is this. What will happen after Secret Wars are over and this version of Spider-Man has come to an end? Obviously, what a lot of us want to see is Spider-Man and Mary Jane back together again, married again. And obviously, we would love to have him have his daughter back. And that's what we're all hoping for. I think most of us are. So the question is, will they do that? Well, now this is just all speculation, but I can't see Marvel putting out a miniseries like this, where they're teasing us with a Spider-Man that is married and has a family, and then not doing anything with that after this miniseries ends and the Marvel Universe is put back together again and they start over. I think what's happening here is that Marvel is trying to gauge just how many people want to see Spider-Man back together with Mary Jane, and if they want to see him with a family. So to that end, if that is what they're doing, and I think it is, it's very important that not only that you buy this issue and the subsequent issues of it, but that you go to a website called SpideyOffice@Marvel.com. They want you to go there and let them know if you like this story and if you like Spider-Man being married and having a family. They want to know if you like this story that they've done with Renew Your Vows. And I'm going to try and put a link to it below in the description if I can. But obviously, it's very important that you go to that website and tell them that, yes, you like this story, but that when it ends, you want to see the real Spider-Man back with Mary Jane, and you want him to have his family back too. Now, like I said, I believe that Marvel is trying to see just how many people want Spider-Man and Mary Jane back together, and whether or not they should go ahead and do that with the real Spider-Man when all this stuff in the Secret Wars are over. And I actually have some proof as to that theory. I'm going to play you a clip of one of the people involved with writing Spider-Man right now. And if you listen to what he's saying about the marriage and everything, he gives some indication that that is what they're looking for, that they want to see if this marriage thing is really what Spider-Man fans want when the character comes back again after Secret Wars. So let's see that clip right now.
So what's it like? It's like kind of like a different Spider-Man you're writing.
Yeah, but it's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So it's getting into the Peter Parker mindset, and yay! One of the fun things is writing MJ, because writing MJ, in Brand New Day and in Big Time and Superior, it's very much the relationship that can't go anywhere, because we always know that they're not getting married. If Marvel went to all this trouble to unmarry them, you as a fan know they're not getting married. So whenever they're together, it's kind of like, well, here's a relationship that's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to keep being what it is, and that's not fun. So it could be with anybody else, but now it's like, oh my God, Secret Wars has ripped the whole version of reality apart, and everything is possible. So it's fun to play into this world. Well, okay, bam, here it is. He's married. And what's that mean, and what's that like? And it kind of feels like writing Mary Jane Without Limits, which is something new for me.
Okay, so that was, I forget his name, Dan Slott, who's involved with Spider-Man. And the main thing to take away from this interview is that they've acknowledged that most Spider-Man fans did not like One More Day. They did not like the idea of the marriage being destroyed. They don't like the fact that Peter Parker and Mary Jane are not back together. In other words, they are acknowledging people like us who were upset about that. And they're acknowledging it, and so therefore I think they are gauging as to, do people really want to see Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together? And so, like I said, it's very important that you buy these issues and that you go to spideyoffice@marvel.com and let them know that you want to see this in the main Spider-Man universe when Secret Wars are over. This is the kind of Spider-Man you want to see, with him married to Mary Jane. We have to emphasize that a lot. We want the marriage back. We want Mary Jane and Peter Parker back together. Now, as to how that will be handled, or even more importantly, I would say, if they're going to bring back the child, or at least another version of Spider-Man's daughter, how will they go about it? Well, at this point, who knows? They could do it a number of ways. I can only say what I would like to see. During the 90s, long before One More Day, this was happening during the Clone Saga. And for those of us who were around in the 90s, who were kids and reading that comic book, we're all very familiar with it. What I want to see is the pregnancy of Mary Jane done right. For those of you who don't know, Mary Jane was actually pregnant one time during the 90s, during the Clone Story arc. And unfortunately, when they decided that the Clone Story as it was being done was not working out, they decided to kill the baby off. And Mary Jane was forced to have a miscarriage by the Green Goblin. Later on, they wrote the pregnancy out of the continuity of Spider-Man. So as it stands now, that pregnancy, that daughter, never happened. But I would like to see that righted in some way. And by that I mean, I want to see, Spider-Man back and married to Mary Jane already, but that at least in the first issue, or maybe, the next 2 or 3 issues, Mary Jane comes out and we have like a cover like this. This was the cover that was out in the 90s during the Clone Saga, in which Mary Jane revealed to Peter Parker that they were going to have a baby, that Mary Jane was pregnant. Obviously, we all know that did not end well. So I want to see a different version of this cover, something like this, where Mary Jane comes to Peter Parker and tells him that she's pregnant and that they're going to have a baby. And I want to see the pregnancy storyline done right, because it could be done so well now. Obviously, we would not have to worry about the Clone Saga and all of that crap, which was going on back then, during the 90s. And at that time, I might add, was the worst storyline right up until One More Day, because of the way it ended. And, Mary Jane losing her baby, and Peter Parker losing his daughter, and all of that. So I want to see the pregnancy of Mary Jane done right. I want to go through that process where we can see Peter Parker and Mary Jane preparing to become parents, and the responsibilities that go along with that, that would make for a very interesting story, a very riveting story, and we would care. We would care so much about Spider-Man and what's happening with Peter Parker and Mary Jane and their lives. And every fight that he was in, every time he's involved in some fight with a supervillain or whatever is happening, we would be completely invested in what is going on and what the outcome would be, because we would once again actually give a care about what was happening to Spider-Man. That has been the problem with all these stories for the past few decades, with Spider-Man having absolutely nothing to live for and nothing to fight for other than just, stopping muggers and the occasional supervillain from taking over the world. I mean, it's just, there's nothing to it anymore. It's got no heart, no substance. That's what I would like to see. I know others out there might have different ideas, but that's what I would like to see. But the main thing is that we get Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together as a married couple. So go to SpideyOffice@Marvel.com and let them know that you like this storyline and that you want to see this in the main Spider-Man universe when the Secret Wars are over. And I got to tell you, I'm trying very hard not to get my hopes up, but I really, really do hope that this is a new beginning for Spider-Man. That some of the wrongs over the past few decades that have been done to this character, to the stories, and to the books will be righted, hopefully in some way. And the best way that they can get people back to reading Spider-Man, people like me, who stopped reading this comic a long time ago. You want me to be a Spider-Man fan again? You want me to buy the books and be with you and everything and support you? This is how you do it. If you bring back Mary Jane to Peter Parker, and you bring back the child in some manner, Marvel can count me back as one of them. I will gladly start buying Spider-Man comic books again, and I will gladly start reading them. And you know why? Because it will be good again. There will be something to read for once. Something worth reading, worth buying. So I'm saying right now, at Marvel, you want me back? This is the way to do it. Put Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together. Now I'm going to go over to that website and let them know what I think. And I hope all of you who care about Spider-Man will do the same. I believe this is our one and only chance to redeem Spider-Man. If this doesn't work, if people don't buy the issue, and if people do not write in and let them know that this is the story we want to see Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together and have a family, I believe that it will be the end of Spider-Man. This comic book has not been doing good since, all of the junk that happened with, really with the Clone Saga, and certainly with One More Day. As I've said before on a past video, the road to ruin for Spider-Man began with the Clone Saga, and how that ended, more specifically, with the child dying, and eventually the marriage being destroyed. So, this is it. This is a turning point. It's either going to go up, or it's going to go down and crash and burn. So let's hope Marvel does the right thing for once when it comes to Spider-Man. Write in and let them know what you think about this story. Let them know you want to see this story in the main Marvel Universe. We want Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together. The time has come. So, in the meantime, that's all the news I have for you right now. And obviously I will be keeping up with what other issues come out. If anything noteworthy happens, I will certainly let people know on this channel. Until then, that's all the information I have. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and let's also be active this time and let Marvel know that we want Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together. So until then, keep the faith, my people. Let's hope that we get Peter Parker and Mary Jane back together and get that daughter back, get his family back. It would be so great if we had that in the Spider-Man comic books again. It would be so wonderful. So, Until then, this is the Chipmunk, and I will see you next time. Bye for now, everybody.